welcome to the Geeky Girls Knit podcast. I'm Cece, also known as Java Pearl.
I'm Damaris, also known as Damaris Dash, a bit weird.
And we're glad to have you today. Today is Wednesday, June the 19th, 2013. We're almost halfway through the year. And this is episode 43. We are getting really close to our podiversary. Only about like 9 weeks, 8 weeks. It's getting here soon. We want to say welcome back to all of our returning viewers. Thanks for coming back week after week. We really appreciate you. And a big hello to any new viewers. We're glad that you're giving us a shot today. Hope you enjoy your time with us. Please come join our Ravelry group, and if you introduce yourself in the introductions thread there, we will give you a shout out on the next podcast. And with that, I think we're ready to get started. Yes?
Yes.
All right, here we go.
Now it's time to talk about what's on our needles.
So what's on your needles, Mare?
I still have my sleeve.
All right, well, show us what progress you have made this week. Yes, without the needle hitting the microphone. That'd be positive. You're good. All right. Pretty good. Are you getting burned out on your sweater?
Yes.
Maybe you should knit something else small.
No, because then it'll take even longer.
But it'll give you a little break from your sweater, and then you can jump back in with excitement on your sweater. Yes? Tell them about the sweater in case they haven't seen it before.
This is the second sleeve to my Watson sweater based off the Dr. Watson's Cabled Crew Neck pattern by Trudy Brown. The yarn is Barocco Vintage in the Oats colorway, and I'm doing it on size US 4 needles, 3.5 millimeters.
Alrighty, good job. We'll see how much more progress you have next week. How many V's do you have to do?
15.
15, and how many do you have right now?
5 completed.
So you're a third of the way done. Doesn't that make it seem better?
I don't know.
Alright, well, I have a couple of things on the needles. I'm going to be kind of secretive and sneaky about part of it, though. But I can show you this. And these did not get a whole lot of work this week because I finished another project and had 2 other projects that I was designing this week. So I did not get a lot done on these socks. But this is based on Hermione's Everyday Socks by Erica Luder, except for I am doing my normal toe up 2 at a time sock pattern and just incorporating the stitch pattern from the Hermione socks. So there it is. And the yarns I'm using are, I'm striping these myself, these 2 colors. They're both Brown Sheep Wildfoot luxury sock yarn, and I think this one is the Lilac Desert. That's pretty true to color right there, with the lavender and brown and tan and green and white. And I think this one is the Little Lilac. So I finished the feet, well, the main foot part of both of them, and I've done, I think I'm about halfway through the heel flap. Honestly, I have not touched these since probably like last Thursday, though, because I have been working madly on other projects. So, my niece, Lola, Damaris' cousin, will be 5 in September. And she sent me word through her mama, through my sister Carrie, that she desperately needed a pink and purple scarf for her birthday. So I went and bought yarn. I wanted something soft, but I wanted something bulky weight because I have so many projects that I'm trying to get done before Scotland. So I ended up going with 3 colors instead of just 2. So this is Tender Touch yarn in the, so for the purple I did the Orchid Haze. That's not showing up. Oh, that's a little better. It's kind of a lavender. And for the pink I did Rose Petal. That's pretty true right there. It's a bright pink. And then I bought a, what's it called? This is called Rain. It's kind of a silvery gray. So, as I'm knitting along on this, I'm using size 10, US 10 needles, 6.0 millimeter. And I'm knitting away on this scarf. And am about probably 85-90% done with it. And I had a design inspiration. I need a light bulb. In the shower. I know. I get my best ideas in the shower. So I decided that in addition to the scarf, Lola was going to get a matching pair of fingerless gloves. You knit her a pair of fingerless gloves. When was that? Was it for her last birthday?
I don't know.
Potentially for her last birthday, sometime in the last year-ish. And Lola is obsessed with them. She loves them. Like to the point where she does not want to take them off while eating and sleeping. So I was like, okay, this is a great idea. I will do a pair of fingerless gloves that kind of match the scarf. And I adore how it has turned out. So the fingerless gloves are finished. The scarf is now at about 93%. I'm trying to see how many repeats I can get without running out of yarn. And I decided that I'm going to publish the patterns for both the scarf and the fingerless gloves as a set. So if you purchase the pattern, you'll get both the scarf pattern and the fingerless glove pattern. And I have done 3 sizes for the fingerless gloves. They are the hand circumference, not including the thumb, so the circumference around the hand of 6 inches, 7 inches, and 8 inches. So I just, a little bit before we started recording, send out the pattern to some of my test knitters. I have some testing the 8-inch and the 7-inch. If you're interested in test knitting and you have not contacted me, I posted on our Ravelry group that I'm looking for test knitters because I'm just building a database. So if you're interested in test knitting this project I have right now, especially if you'd be willing to do either the 6-inch hand circumference or the 7-inch hand circumference, send me an email. My email is going to be right up here, javapearl@thealmonds.com, or PM me on Ravelry JavaPearl, JAVAPURL, with your email address, and I'll send you out the details. I'm hoping to publish these in July. I'm thinking of doing some kind of Christmas in July special. Now, that being said, I'm not going to show you the completed projects. I will give you a sneak peek. The pattern set is going to be called Lola's Zigga Zagga Scarf and Fingerless Gloves. I need to change that because I wrote mitts, but it's gloves. So here is a very fast sneak peek of the scarf. That's all you get. The gloves have the same kind of pattern, but have a little bit of a twist. So that is what I've been madly working on. Like I said, the fingerless gloves are done for Lola, and the scarf is almost done. I'll probably finish it actually tonight. But if you're interested in test knitting for me, or if you're interested in test knitting but not maybe not necessarily this project but a future project, go ahead and send me your email address so I can put you in my database so that next time I have my next project ready, you'll get an email from me. That's what's on my needles. I think Lola's going to love them. Yes. All right. So on to the next segment.
Now we're going to talk about our finished projects.
So I told you that I finished Lola's fingerless gloves, but I'm not going to show them to you yet. So that got finished this week, but I also finished another project that Damaris is going to model. I was working on these last week, so you probably remember them. This is the Malabrigo hand thingies pattern by Anne Sahakian, and I did it in shimmer yarn in the black colorway, so it's black with black shimmers, which I know is hard to pick up on this camera. There's pictures on project page. I used a US 8 5.0 millimeters, and like I've said in the past, I modified this pattern because it was too small the first time I knit it. I mean, it wasn't too small, but it was just very snug. And this is more comfortable, don't you think, after wearing the other ones too? So, that's what I finished this week. Are you okay? Do your cheeks hurt?
No.
Why are you holding your cheeks?
Because.
Is the yarn soft?
No.
The yarn's not soft.
Oh, it's not super soft.
But it is kind of soft. It's got sparkles in it, though, so it doesn't make it super, super soft. You can kind of see the sparkles in it. Okay, that's what we finished. On to the next segment. And now we're to my favorite part of the show, Yummies. So Yummies are like our current favorite things, or things we got this week, or things we want to tell you about. And special this week, the segment will end with a not so yummy section, because there were some there was a whole not so yummy thing this week, but that we still want to tell you about. Okay, so tell them this pretty quick.
We still have some buttons left. They look like this. If you want one, contact us using whatever is up here. It's $1.50 to ship in the U.S. and about $2 to ship outside of the U.S.
Yes.
So yeah.
All right. So I don't know that. Oh yeah, no, I did increase my stash dash total this week. So I'm doing the stash dash with the Knit Girls podcast, where over the summer you're to knit, crochet, spin 4,375 yards. So with the hand thingies that I finished this week added in, but without Lola's project added in. I haven't added in either the scarf or the fingerless gloves. My current total is 2,496. So I'm well over halfway, so I have 1,879 yards to go. So with Lola's thing, I think that'll take just under 400 yards off that, so that'll put me just under 1,500 yards to go. Making good progress. All right, so do you want to tell them about what we finished and started this week?
We finished the last season of Angel.
Many tears. I was sad that we're not spoiling anybody. This is an old show. Unless you haven't watched it yet and don't want to be spoiled, you go away for a little bit. But otherwise, we're going to talk about it because it's an old show. It's been off the air for a while. I was very sad that Wesley died. But it was so touching that what's-her-name changed herself back into Fred.
Illyria.
Yeah, Illyria changed herself back into Fred to comfort him as he died. And what did you think about the ending?
I don't know. What did you think about the ending?
Well, I mean, I felt like they left it open to where...
Well, there's a continuation of comics that are canon. Like
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know that. Because I was going to say, it felt like they left it open, like, where they could have done a movie or another season or whatever. But, yeah, I did not know there was comic books that were canon.
Yeah, both Buffy and Angel have continuation comic book.
Interesting.
Things.
Interesting. So, yes, we are Joss Whedon fans. We like his stuff. I've been following him on Twitter. He's kind of strange. So, what did we start this week since we finished that?
We started Granada Holmes.
So this is The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes with Jeremy Brett from, like, the 80s.
Yes.
So there's, like, 36 episodes and 4 films or 5 films or something. So we've only watched the first episode. We'll probably watch quite a bit this afternoon and this evening while we upload this and everything. So I'm still watching Doc Martin. I'm in series 4 now. If you don't want to be spoiled, I mean, they're fixing to, they're working on releasing series 6. So I'm behind still. So if you haven't watched it and don't want to be spoiled, fast forward a little bit because I'm going to talk about it a little bit. So I just finished where Doc and Louisa didn't get married, and then all of a sudden, like 6 months later, she comes back, and she's pregnant with Doc Martin's baby. That's what I watched last night. So, he is just so quirky. He makes me laugh, because he just has, like, no filter for what he says. He's just really pretty blunt. It makes me laugh. I like him. I think the Hubs likes it too. He's been watching some of it with me. And we continue our grand rewatching of the 7 series of New Doctor Who before the 50th anniversary. So, what did we watch this past week?
We finished series 1, and now we're in series 2.
Yeah, so we saw 9 regenerate, which makes the Hubs very sad because 9 is his favorite. Out of 9, 10, and 11, we have a family of birds that live right outside our window. And I don't know if you can hear them chirping, but we can, and they are sure having a good time. So I'm not real sure. Anyway, so out of 9, 10, and 11, 9 is probably my least favorite. Not that I don't like him, but just out of the 3.
I like all of them.
10 and 11 kind of go back and forth for me. Which one is my favorite?
They're so sassy. He's so sassy and precious.
So now so last night we watched the Cybermen. And the alternate world where Mickey Ricky stays in the alternate universe. So we're watching all this with the Hubs, so getting ready for the 50th. So I meant to put this in the show notes, and I forgot to do it. So there's been some rumblings this week about potentially there might have been found some of the lost episodes of Classic Who. Including quite a bit of Hartnell, which there was a lot missing. Problems?
Yeah.
Yes, yarn unwinds. Did you think you had a burp?
No.
Oh, you dropped it in the floor.
No.
Oh.
I dropped this in the floor.
Oh, okay. So that could be interesting. All I've read is just some rumors. I haven't seen anything official from BBC. Which I'm sure, if it's true, BBC will tell us eventually. Maybe they're waiting till closer to the 50th to announce it.
They're also coming out with a Regeneration box set. This is old news.
Okay.
But still, they're coming out with a Regeneration box set. And we should have known when they said that 11 was going to regenerate.
I'm still devastated about this. Okay. Alright, so what else is new this week? I got some yummy yarn in the mail from Anna of Toil and Trouble. She and I have the set of my pattern of Rescue Me Chin Boy and Show Me the Stars and her Starry Starry Night yarn. So it's kind of the TARDIS blue, but then it fades to a paler blue and then like a cream. So I've already knit with some of her yarn before. In fact, this very colorway. but it was samples, a pair of socks sample for her for when she does shows. So I bought this so that I can knit me a pair. It smells good. Anna's so awesome. Love you, Anna. So she has more of this available, or if it's not currently available, she dyes it up pretty quick. So I'll put a link to the set, to the kit in the show notes, because you save money if you buy the kit. So if you don't have my pattern yet, you save money by buying the pattern and the yarn together. You get a discount. So Anna, Toil and Trouble Yarn, she rocks. Okay, so I had this thought this week that I thought I would throw out there and see.
It's windy outside.
I wonder if we're getting another storm. We had a really bad storm. I guess we could talk about that in the Not So Yummy section coming up. So let me talk about this other thing first. Oh my goodness. The wind just totally picked up really a lot. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. I actually had this thought several weeks ago and just hadn't pursued it, and so now it came back to me again in the shower today. As I said, inspirations in the shower. So I know quite a few of us on Instagram. If you're looking for me on Instagram, I'm cc_almond, ALMON. I know several of us participate in the Fat Mom Slim photo a day sharing thing. And she has a prompt for every day. And you take a photo. I'm ignoring your reactions to the wind while I'm talking about this. So, for example, yesterday's prompt was street. There's been prompts about like 11 o'clock or on the table or centered, or I mean she has a different prompt for every day. So I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if we had a photo a day prompt list for crafty things? So maybe one day is texture, one day is your most recent finished project, one day is a work in progress, one day is
One day more.
one day is your favorite color. I mean, just I have like all these thoughts. So what do you think about that? Would it be cool to have I'll have to come up with some cool name for it, but a crafty photo a day thing to do through Instagram? Let me know what you think. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Not So Yummy. So we can talk about the weather first. So the weather has not been so yummy this week. So you want to tell them what happened Monday?
It tasted awful.
Yeah. I was like, what? It was not yummy. It did not taste good. So what happened Monday?
There was a big storm.
Massive. So we were leaving Monday night from here at the house to go to our small group from a church that meets on Monday night. And as we were driving towards town, if you follow me on Instagram, you saw the picture. We were driving into this just real dark black sky, and the wind really started to pick up. And by the time we got to the house, it had started just spitting those real big drops of rain, but it wasn't like pouring or anything. Within 30 seconds of us walking into the house, the sky just burst open, and within probably 2 hours, I think we had, not even that, probably within about an hour and a half, we had like 2.5 inches of rain. The streets flooded. The wind was really bad. As we were driving back home, when we got home, we found out that the power had been out for about an hour and a half for us. But on our way back home, the wind had ripped trees out of the ground. Light poles street lights had been ripped out of the ground. A lot of power was still out. A lot of the traffic lights did not work, which is not a good thing because it was like at the highway, and those were not working. Roofs and business signs had been ripped, so there was a lot of damage. And then now today it looks like we might be getting some more of the same. The wind has really picked up just in the last, we've been recording for about 25 minutes now. Just in the last 25 minutes, the wind has really, really picked up out the window out here. And it's gotten really dark. So, weather has not been very nice this week. So, that's not so yummy. Now for the other not so yummy. It has been a difficult week, actually more than a week, dealing with Scotland stuff. So for those that are new, our family is moving to Edinburgh, Scotland, in about 9 weeks. The Hubs will be going back to school at the University of Edinburgh to get his PhD in theology. If you want to know more about the whole move and everything, here's the website, scotland.thealmonds.com. So we finally got information this week, well, it was like into last week, to do our visas. We could not do visas until 90 days, no earlier than 90 days before school starts. So we got the information we needed from the school and started working on the visas this weekend. Now, I speak English. That is obvious to you because I am communicating to you in English. In Scotland, they also speak English. However, some of the words just don't mean the same thing, or other terms are used for things that we use different terms for. So we had a lot of frustration, and we're not able to finish our visa forms over the weekend like we had anticipated doing because we had questions that we couldn't get help answering. So we sent a message to the international office at the university, and finally this morning got an email back from them. They're just being bombarded with questions right now since everybody's working on their visas. So we finally got answers to the questions, so I should be able to finish our visas tonight. The next step after doing the online stuff for the visas is we've got to make appointments in the closest town that does the biometric data gathering that we need to have done is Lubbock, which is about 3 hours away, about a 3-hour drive away from us. We've got to make appointments for all three of us to go to Lubbock and get that done, and then mail a bunch of stuff in and everything. So we're madly trying to get that done because it can take anywhere from just a few days to several weeks to be approved. In the midst of all of this, we're reading some paperwork, and the university throws us for a total loop, telling us not to come to Edinburgh via Ireland. It's a whole long story, and I won't go into everything, but apparently there's some kind of travel agreement between Ireland and Scotland and some other countries in the UK that should not affect us because we are traveling originally from the United States, and we have to have a passport and we have to have our visas, but there is a potential that they might not check those if we come in via Ireland. Now, my brain says, well, can we not just request that they be checked if they're not checked? If they don't, if they don't intend to check them, can we not say, hey, we're coming from the U.S., we came from the U.S., we flew in via Ireland, but we have visas and they need to be checked. Nobody can give us a straight answer on that thus far. The problem with this was when we started checking for plane tickets that flew from the U.S. to Edinburgh that did not go through Ireland, the price at minimum doubled, if not higher, for plane tickets. So what we thought would cost about $2,400 for the three of us to fly was looking at like $4,800, $5,000, $5,500, $6,000, $7,000. And we didn't have a budget for that. So things kind of hit the fan this morning, and so I started doing some more research. We have found a possible potential solution that involves not flying through Ireland. Although the tickets are more expensive than flying through Ireland, they are not the significantly higher price. However, it causes an issue with the amount of luggage we were going to check, because what was going to cost about $200 to check would now cost about $700 to check. So that was in addition to our first checked bag plus an extra checked bag that we had already budgeted for. But we were looking at checking a third bag apiece, and that is what went from about $200 to about $700. Well, we cannot do that either. So we are trying to figure out a workaround for that extra stuff. There's been much tears and much frustration, and it's been a very difficult time trying to work through all this, especially since none of us have ever dealt with this before. So, all that to say, that's been not so yummy this week. Plans are still going forward for us to go to Scotland beginning of September. We're still doing our fundraiser, scotland.thealmonds.com. We have some really great prizes, in my opinion anyway. Some patterns, some hand-knitted items, books, jewelry, Doctor Who stuff. So if you would like to donate to help us, we would really appreciate it. Just go to the website, all the details are there, or if you have questions, or if you don't want to donate through PayPal, if you would like to donate another way, just send us an email, and we'd be happy to talk with you, and we're very appreciative of any help you can give us. Alright, so that was the Yummies and Not So Yummies for this week. Alright, let's move on to the next segment.
Now we're going to talk about what books we're reading and what TV we're watching.
So I'm still reading the book number 4 in Tales of Goldstone Woods, which is called Starflower by Anne Elizabeth Stengel. We're about to start a new series together, though. You want to tell them what that is?
The Wicked series by Gregory Maguire.
So this is the series that the Broadway musical Wicked is based on. So I got a really good deal on them a while back, the 4 books. So there's Wicked, Son of a Witch, I think this is the 3rd one, A Lion Among Men, and I think the 4th one is Out of Oz. So, yeah, that's right. So it's a 4-volume set, so that we have on our Kindles. That's what I'm looking at right now. So we're going to start with Wicked and see what we think. So that's what's about to be read. So we just have a couple of TV shows to cover today. Continuum, episode 2.2, Split Second. So we got some more history on Travis and Sonia. And I think we probably got the answer to why. Remember, I was talking about last week about after Sonia shot Travis, that they tried to shock him back to life, and then they pronounced him, and then he had like an internal shock that revived him. Well, I was wondering where that came from. Well, we found out that he was being built to be a fighting machine, and Sonia was the doctor that was working with him. And they fell in love, and she was supposed to decommission him, but she saved him instead. And so I think that was what brought them into the Liberate movement thing. So we know there's a mole in the police department. It's really evident that it probably could be Gardner, which is the guy who saw, what's her name? Kira, thank you. Go invisible, but he can't figure out what's going on. But is that too obvious of a choice? So I don't know. Gardner could be the mole, but maybe not. So we see that Kellogg and Alec are going to work together, which I think is just asking for problems, but you had to see that one coming. I mean, it was just pretty obvious that that's where it was going to go. And now Liberate is having major issues. It has become Sonia and Lucas versus Travis and Garza. So there's some tension, and they've separated, and we'll see what happens. Next week's episode on June 21st is 2.3 Second Thoughts. Okay, so tell them about this one a little bit.
Okay. Warehouse 13, 4.17, What Matters Most.
So this episode was really a lot about your sins will find you out and confession being good for the soul. because there was an artifact that was based out of the biblical story of Sodom and Gomorrah that caused you to get ill or have something happen to you or be killed based on a major sin in your life. And even though they got the artifact and put it in the bag to neutralize it, it didn't. That's thunder. I don't know if you can hear it. To neutralize it, it didn't completely neutralize until you confessed what your sin was. There was a fun Bill Nye the Science Guy reference. Pete talked about him. I loved seeing all of them together in the bed and breakfast at the end, towards the end, because we've just been seeing like 2 or 3 of them together, or these are going here, these are going here, but everybody was in the house, and so that was kind of fun. The Nick guy that they brought in, he's evil. He's working with Charlotte, and he's out to destroy them. Charlotte is Spike's, I don't know what his character's name is on Warehouse 13. Spike from Buffy and Angel, his wife, and there was a whole story about that at the beginning of the season. And then it ended with that Micah might have ovarian cancer, which is OMG. Next episode.
4.18 Lost and Found. Next week.
Yeah, on Monday the 24th. Alright, that's all the TV this week. We've kind of been covering other TV in our Yummies section because it's not current TV. It's stuff that we're watching old stuff. So that's why we've kind of been covering it in Yummies instead of here. Okay, on to the next segment.
Now we're talking about our June color cowl, which is you can do any project you want, knitting, crocheting, weaving, spinning, but it has to have your favorite color in it.
Yes. What's my favorite color?
Blue.
No.
Orange.
No.
Green.
Pink.
Purple.
Pink.
Purple.
Pink.
Purple. Purple.
And since Lola asked for pink and purple for her thing, I can put that in the June color, even though I can't win prizes. So, when does this end?
June 30th.
Yes, which is a Sunday. So we'll close the thread.
June 30th.
No, the morning of July the 1st.
Yeah.
So you have how long left?
About a week and a half.
Yeah, so get working on your color projects. So we have a bunch of finished projects this week, like a lot. So, briefly, here they are. Stitchin' Out Loud, who is Kat, finished the R2D2 beanie and You Limey Thing You Trivet. Angie Ann, who is Angie, finished the hurricane hat. Wisconsin Knitter, who is Eileen, finished the biscuit cowl. Phoenix Fire, who is Tracy, finished the zombie tape measurers and the Om Nom Monster. Did you see that? Knittin' Wolf, who is Dawn, finished her trillion. Elle McCall, who is Linda, also finished her trillion. Chain of Fools, who is Emily, finished gorgeous purple hand-spun yarn. Crow Julie, who is Julie, finished a lovely felted bowl that she put her Geeky Girls Knit button on. And Apple 380, who is Jamie, finished her fire-colored socks. So, great job, everyone. We love all your projects. So, keep working on them and get them posted, and we'll do prizes. Will be the first podcast in July. So 2 weeks from today, we'll do prizes. Yes? Yeah, 2 weeks from today, we'll do prizes. All right, on to the last segment. All right, so I think we're ready to tie things up. A few miscellaneous thingy-do-boppers. So, we're having a giveaway.
Yes.
When we get what?
200 members in our Ravelry group. If you're not part of our Ravelry group, go join it.
That's right.
Invite your friends, invite your family, invite Bruce Banner.
Does Bruce Banner knit?
Head canon accepted.
maybe you should go teach them. So
I am your spinner.
how are they eligible for prizes?
If you're in the group,
It's that easy.
invite your dog.
No, don't invite your dog. Unless it's Bob. And then Bob can be in the group.
Invite Tony Stark.
No, I don't think Tony Stark knits either. So, when we get to 200 members, we'll have prize or prizes. So, come join the group if you're not a member. Coming soon.
Coming soon to a podcast near you.
Our July Cowl. Are you ready for the theme? I can't wait to make the image for this. I haven't made it. I have it in my head. It was another one of those shower inspirations. This will be the hip to be square cowl.
That's not a square.
That is a square.
It's curved.
It is as close as a square as I can get. There. Oops, that's not that's more of a rectangle. There, square. So, hip to be square cowl so that you can be thinking ahead. It will be for any Ravelry craft, knitting, weaving, crocheting. I don't think spinning will work in this one because your project needs to be square. So unless you can spin square yarn, spinning won't work for this one. So in our brains, we're thinking like dishcloths or Afghan squares, or you could do a cowl that's a square. There is a certain hat pattern called turn a square.
How would you know it's pattern?
Because I have knit it multiple times. I'm going to be doing some dishcloth squares, I know. So, start your brain.
Which is not square.
Which is not square. Turning.
At least I hope it's not.
And think of some square projects that you can do for the hip to be square cowl in July. That's a rectangle. We had to find the hip to be square song and play it for Damaris.
It's raining.
Yes it is. Alright, this Friday, June the 21st.
She was preparing herself for the
I was not preparing myself. I was trying not to burp on the camera. Sorry. This Friday, June the 21st at 6 p.m. Central, we will be having a Geeky Girls Knit VKN. So, we'll post the link in Ravelry, Plurk, Twitter, Facebook, all those fancy, fancy places. So, come join us if you're interested. 6 p.m. Central, Friday night. Tell them where to find us. In the rain. And in the not rain. Where can they find us? Okay, so Damaris is not going to tell you apparently, so you can find us on our website, geekygirlsknit.blogspot.com. There's links there to everywhere else you can find us. iTunes, Blip, Twitter, Facebook, Ravelry, Plurk, Instagram.
That's it. That's it.
I think that's it.
That's it.
So, for Damaris, who is a bit weird, how'd you like that pun?
It's not a pun.
Because her username is Damaris-a-bit-weird. And for me,
Bye.
Cece, Java Pearl.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you next week. Happy knitting. Tell the people bye.
Bye.